All right, let's dive in. Today we're cracking open a YouTube video, Simon Squibb with entrepreneur Luke Belmar.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Luke Belmar's Guide to Making Money blew my mind. Catchy title, right?
Totally. Very clickbaity.
But it's good stuff. I mean, especially that whole escaping the hamster wheel thing. You ever feel that? Like just spinning your wheel?
Oh, big time. I think that resonates with a lot of people, especially financially.
For sure. For sure. And both Squibb and Belmar, they both emphasize it's not just about like millions.
Right.
It's about that stability, breaking free.
Exactly.
So Belmar lays out this framework. He calls it the trifecta of money.
Okay, yeah.
To guarantee like a good solid income, your work needs to hit these three things: high demand, be the best, and irreplaceable.
Love a good framework. Makes it nice and simple.
Right. So high demand, he gives this example, starting a gardening business in Tennessee.
Okay. Lots of yards.
Yeah, makes sense. High demand, right. But then he's like, try that in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah, not so much.
Apartments, not a lot of gardening going on.
Not really, no.
So that's high demand. Then there's be the best. And he uses this really interesting example working at McDonald's.
Really?
He's like, even in a job like that, if you really hone your skills, you show up on time, you've got a good attitude.
Those core skills.
Yeah, he talks about those fixed skills like character and attitude versus those variable skills like specific to the job.
Gotcha.
But even at McDonald's, those fixed skills, they open doors.
It's about building a foundation.
And he has this hack, finding co-founders who have those skills you lack.
Oh, I like that.
Like if you're great at marketing, but numbers make you sweat.
Find your numbers person.
Exactly. Squibb talks about this too, doubling down on your strengths.
Makes sense. Play to your advantages.
All right, so we got high demand, be the best. Now, irreplaceable, this is where it gets kind of, I don't know, a little scary.
Yeah, a little bit.
AI, automation, Belmar's like, straight up, some jobs are going away.
It's the reality, unfortunately.
So, gotta pick a path that uses those uniquely human skills.
What robots can't do yet.
Right, that's the key. And even Simon Squibb, 8 million followers, says he doesn't feel irreplaceable.
Really? Wow, that's interesting.
I think we all struggle with that feeling sometimes.
Totally.
So how do we even start to become irreplaceable when AI is, constantly evolving?
Well, Belmar, he's big on building a strong reputation.
Yeah, okay.
It takes time, consistency, you have to be authentic.
Deliver value, build relationships.
Yeah, it's about trust.
So it's not just about a skill set.
It's about who you are, how you connect with people.
And that's something AI can't really replicate, can it?
Not yet, anyway.
So in this crazy, fast-changing world, what can we do to, future-proof ourselves?
Good question.
Both Belmar and Squibb agree on two things.
Okay, let's hear them.
Building strong relationships.
Okay, makes sense.
And accumulating resources, financial ones.
Smart.
Diversify your portfolio, not just money, but skills, your network.
I like that.
So Belmar brings up this interesting thing about avoiding what he calls small L's. Small L's.
Little losses,
Yeah.
they add up over time.
Oh, like hitting snooze or, spending money you shouldn't.
Exactly. He calls it death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Ouch.
But then he balances it with this idea of grace.
Okay.
Like, even when you mess up, take those small L's. Be kind to yourself.
Self-compassion.
Yes. We're always learning.
Right. Give yourself a break.
And then he drops this bomb. The rich and the poor are both self-made, but only the rich will admit it.
That's a statement.
It really makes you think, right? About taking ownership, your choices, your outcomes.
Powerful stuff. We have the power to change things.
Definitely. And a big part of that seems to be authenticity.
Oh, yeah. He talked about that study, the Spain experiment.
I had never heard of that before.
I hadn't either, but it's super interesting. They looked at the vibrational frequencies of different emotions.
Okay.
And guess what? Authenticity vibrates higher than love.
No way.
Yeah. Aligning your thoughts, words, actions. It has energy. So being true to yourself, that actually helps you break free from those patterns that are keeping you stuck.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
You can't move forward if you're not being true to yourself.
So how do we actually escape the hamster wheel? Belmar gives us a 3-step plan.
All right, lay it on me.
Reduce costs, create some breathing room financially,
Okay, makes sense.
build side money, that alternative income stream,
Smart move.
and define a clear goal.
Like a roadmap.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be huge steps. Even small ones add up over time.
Definitely. Consistency is key.
But it's not just about the practical steps, right? Belmar keeps coming back to this idea of definite purpose.
He does, doesn't he?
It's like the foundation for everything.
What's driving you? What's the bigger picture?
Entrepreneurship, life. It needs more than just wanting money.
Right, you need that fire in your belly.
That driving force that gets you through the tough stuff.
And there will be tough stuff. Guaranteed.
He compares it to, like, a ship captain.
Oh yeah, with a clear destination.
No matter the storms, that captain stays focused.
Such a good analogy. What's your definite purpose?
Right. That's what I keep asking myself. We've covered a lot here, but it feels like we're just getting started.
It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure.
So what are some of your big takeaways from this first part?
Mindset, authenticity, taking action, those are the big ones for me. To unlock that financial stability, escape the wheel. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And that whole thing about small L's, how those little choices can really snowball.
Oh yeah, definitely. And don't forget about connections, building those strong relationships.
Especially in a world that's getting more and more tech-driven.
Human connection is more important than ever.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Lots to think about.
We'll pick up the rest in part 2. Until then, keep those hamster wheels in mind.
Will do.
Okay, welcome back. We've been digging into Luke Belmar's business wisdom.
That's right, the trifecta of money, being authentic, and of course that hamster wheel.
Yeah, that hamster wheel. And I want to get into, like, the practical stuff, the steps to actually get off
The
it.
how-tos, right. Because we've talked a lot about mindset.
Exactly. But I'm ready for some action, some concrete strategies.
Well, Belmar, he's got us covered. He really emphasizes focusing on inputs.
Inputs. Okay, what's that all about?
So instead of getting fixated on the outputs like, I want to be a millionaire,
Right, the end goal.
he says, focus on the actions, the efforts, the inputs that get you there.
So what kind of inputs are we talking about? What's the work?
First things first, you got to offer something of value to the market.
Okay, a product, a service, a skill.
Anything people are willing to pay for.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be some crazy new invention.
It's like find a need and fill it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you get stuck thinking it has to be this big, amazing idea.
Yeah, Belmar's point is it can be simpler than that. He even mentions this teenager making bank-flipping sneakers.
Wow, really? Sneakers?
Yeah. And then he brings up lifetime value, LTV.
Okay, I've heard of that, but remind me.
It's shifting the focus from making a quick buck.
To building those long-term relationships.
Exactly. Goes back to that strong reputation thing.
Right, it all connects. So if you're just trying to squeeze every penny,
People aren't going to stick around.
you got to build that trust, provide real value.
Then you create loyal customers, revenue for years.
Playing the long game makes sense, but it's easy to forget that when you're starting out.
You just want those first sales.
So we've got offering value, LTV. What other inputs does he talk about?
He gets into distribution marketing, getting your stuff seen.
Okay, I'm listening.
And he's super excited about social media, TikTok specifically.
TikTok. Interesting. Tell me more about this distribution thing.
He thinks platforms like that, they've leveled the playing field
Anyone with a phone can reach millions.
without spending a fortune on ads, yeah.
So it's creating that engaging content.
And letting the algorithm work its magic. He shares some crazy stats about his own TikTok success.
Like what?
One of his videos, over 52 million views.
52 million. Seriously.
And 99% of those new followers, never seen his stuff before.
That's insane reach. But what about those of us who aren't, TikTok stars?
He's got tips for that too. Affiliate programs, pay-per-view models.
Okay, break those down for me.
Affiliate programs, you're basically getting other people to promote your stuff.
They get a cut of the sales.
Exactly. Win-win.
Yeah.
So you're tapping into their audience, leveraging their reach.
That's smart. And pay-per-view.
You pay people directly for the views they get on your content.
So like someone with a big YouTube channel, you pay them to feature your product.
Exactly. More direct. And it can be cheaper than traditional advertising.
Especially for small businesses, people just starting out.
Definitely more bang for your buck. But even with all these strategies, Belmar keeps coming back to definite purpose.
He's really hammering that home, isn't he?
It's the foundation, the key to longevity, he says.
You gotta have that clear sense of purpose.
Otherwise, you'll give up when things get tough.
And let's be real, things always get tough.
It's like, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there, right?
You gotta have that destination in mind, that focus.
He uses that ship captain analogy again.
No matter how rough the seas, that captain knows where they're headed.
Powerful image. It's not just having a goal, it's that deep purpose.
It's what keeps you going when you hit those obstacles.
For sure. So I think we've covered some solid strategies here.
Offering value, LTV, distribution marketing, and of course, that definite purpose.
A lot to digest. What are your final thoughts for this part?
It all comes down to action, Belmar gives us the ideas, but we got to implement them.
Can't just sit around and nod our heads.
You got to do the work. It's easy to get stuck in that analysis paralysis.
Overthinking everything, never taking that first step.
But Belmar's message is, we have the power to create the life we want.
We can escape those hamster wheels, find that freedom and fulfillment.
It might take time and effort.
But with the right mindset, a clear purpose.
It's possible.
Absolutely.
So before we move on, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay, hit us with it.
What's one small action you can take this week to start building your financial stability?
Even a tiny step.
To escape your hamster wheel, it doesn't have to be drastic.
Sometimes we get overwhelmed by the big picture.
But small steps lead to big changes.
And we'll be back to explore more of Belmar's insights in the next part of our deep dive.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive with Luke Belmar. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. The trifecta of money, authenticity, those small L's.
Oh, yeah, those sneaky small L's. And all those strategies for getting off that hamster wheel.
Right, but I want to circle back to something Belmar keeps hitting on, mindset.
Yeah, it's like the core of his whole philosophy, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's not just, think positive kind of stuff.
Right. It's not just fluff. He gives real strategies for, shifting your perspective.
Overcoming those self-sabotaging habits we all have.
Remember that thing he said about make it so easy to win, it's hard to lose?
Oh, yeah, I love that.
It's so simple, but it makes you think about those little things you can do to set yourself up for success.
Exactly. Like if you're trying to eat healthy, don't keep junk food in the house.
Remove the temptation.
Or want to focus in the morning, phone goes in another room.
No distractions.
It's about creating an environment that supports your goals.
Not one that sabotages them, yeah. And that goes for business too, right?
Absolutely. Belmar talks about surrounding yourself with the right people.
People who believe in you, support you.
Your network, it makes a huge difference.
Huge. But even with the right environment, the right people around you,
there's still that element of personal commitment.
Oh yeah, Belmar's pretty straight up about that. He says most people have no ability to commit to themselves, let alone others.
Oof, that's tough to hear. But, is he wrong?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. It's easy to make promises to ourselves.
But following through, that's the hard part.
And he connects that lack of commitment to a lack of honesty.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Like if you're always breaking promises to yourself,
not doing what you said you would,
you're essentially lying to yourself.
And that erodes your self-trust.
You start to doubt your ability to achieve your goals.
It's a vicious cycle.
But the good news is you can break it.
Okay, how?
Set clear goals, make a real commitment.
And then actually take action.
Action is everything. And, Belmar has this really interesting take on failure.
Oh, yeah. He's not afraid of it.
He says he loves it.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, right?
Totally. But his point is, each failure is a chance to learn.
It's feedback.
Instead of a setback, it's information.
So you can course correct, get better.
You win or you learn.
I like that.
And it goes back to that idea of grace, right?
Like being kind to yourself.
We're all going to mess up. It's going to happen.
The key is to learn from it. Keep going.
Don't beat yourself up.
Way more productive. So as we wrap up our deep dive with Luke Belmar, what are the big takeaways?
For me, it's that power of mindset. What you believe, how you think, it really impacts what you can achieve.
And he's not just talking about money. It's about finding your purpose.
Living authentically, creating a life you love.
It's about escaping that hamster wheel.
And it all starts with taking action.
Can't just dream about it.
You got to make it happen. Belmar's message is all about empowerment.
We have the power to create the future we want.
It might take work, but it's possible. So remember that trifecta of money. Cultivate that growth mindset, and most importantly, be true to yourself.
And remember, you have the power to step off that hamster wheel. Create your own path. That's it for this deep dive. We hope you found these insights helpful. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing forward.